What's up everyone, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. My name is John and it's time to talk about Green Day, yet again. My favorite band, God's favorite band, everyone's favorite band, right? Well, no, not entirely. Not everyone liked the new song. I didn't like the new track. Father of all, well, can't say that in the first 30 seconds of a YouTube video or I'll get demonetized. Father of All, it's the title track from the upcoming album that's due out next February. I'm still excited for it, whatever it's going to be. How could I not be? I mean, my favorite band, of course, I want it to be great. I want the new music to sound awesome in some way. I just didn't like Billy's vocals on the new track. Billie Joe Armstrong has been doing interviews alongside Rivers Cuomo and Pete Wentz, Fall Out Boy, Weezer, Green Day. They're doing the Hella Mega Tour together, so obviously doing interviews together too. Suffice it to say, a lot of people weren't happy with my thoughts on the new track, and a lot of people have been theorizing that there's something up in Camp Green Day. I decided to jump down the rabbit hole and put all of the research that other people are doing, and myself for doing as well, into one spot, into one video to say that maybe, just maybe, Green Day are trolling us with their new album. There's a lot of signs pointing to the fact that some of these theories could absolutely be true, or maybe this is just the jaded Green Day fan in myself saying, well, this couldn't actually be their new song and their new album. Like, not for reals, right? I hope you guys enjoy this video today. Keep in mind that everything that I'm talking about here today, it's just theories. We're basing it off of some of the facts, some of the evidence that we do have, but anything could happen. So drop a like on the video, buckle the fuck up, and let's talk about Father of All motherfuckers and all the other stuff going on in Camp Green Day. First and foremost, we should probably talk about the fact that this album title and the album art, I mean, they're kind of ass, to be quite honest, and that's kind of appalling to me. I like the majority of Green Day's album titles and covers, and this just, isn't cutting it. I mean, just look at the cheap album artwork here, right? This couldn't actually be something that they're doing for reals. Like, first and foremost, I do want to say that I don't think that Green Day are necessarily entirely trolling every little aspect of their new record. They're just making something shit for the sake of putting something out. I do think that they genuinely wanted to just mess around, try something new and cut loose, but they're also kind of doing it because they know their time on this label is almost up. And this album art, especially the non-explicit version that has the fucking unicorn on it, and they say nothing says fuck you like a unicorn, it screams to me not genuine. It's just them just putting it out there to basically be a dick to the label. And look at the title of this album, Father of All Motherfuckers. I mean, how hard is that for them to market? They can't just say it, and Father of All just abbreviated like that? It looks weird. Like, what is this? Father of Five? Father of All? Father of who the hell? Also, can we just talk about how lazy and cheap it is to reuse the heart grenade in the hand from the iconic American Idiot album cover? Again, the more that I think about it, the more that it seems like a troll, especially adding a unicorn on top of that. Next up, we need to talk about the leaked snippets that have been coming out of the studio, and also the album art for a possible second album that could come out in 2020. We've been hearing the name Magnum Opus of the Inglorious Kind for a few weeks before the actual announcement for Father of All came. We've seen the vinyl in the studio. It seemed like somebody was filming and putting it up on Snapchat. There's also an undercover account that only has 17 followers at the time of recording this video, Songs for Assholes on Instagram. It's an account that had 69 posts for quite some time, but the day that this album came out, the announcement for Father of All, it went up to 70 posts. And guess what? It's followed by Mike Dirnt, Trey Cool, and Billie Joe Armstrong. Now I ask, why would all of the members follow this account? And especially with the caption that they use, the bio that they describe it with. If you're knocking here, you shouldn't be here. Basically, get the fuck out. Only the people that are meant to follow this are following this. But still, somehow, we did get some leaked snippets from the studio, of which I'll play you now. I'm gonna ask the viewers on this one, do you think that any of those snippets that I just played you actually sound like something that could fit on Father of All? I honestly don't. It feels like they're going for something more epic. It seemed like you could hear Billie Joe talking in the background. Also, they were kind of directing a choir. It seemed like they had a lot of people in the studio there. And obviously, we'll talk about this more in a minute with the whole I hate long songs thing that Billie Joe has been kind of touting around. But I feel that magnum opus of the Inglorious Kind could be a second album that's pretty much already finished, and they're just waiting to release it independently next year. I do acknowledge that it could totally be faked, and maybe somebody did some mock-ups for an album art or album cover, because we saw the picture first, and then we saw in the studio from the Songs for Assholes accounts, or what's the behind the scenes, they documented the fact that they were basically holding a stack of vinyl records there that had that artwork printed on it, which I love, by the way. It takes Billy, Mike, and Trey and puts them into this very Renaissance-styled looking painting or photo. Whatever it is, it does look glorious. And I do acknowledge that maybe it's been faked or maybe it's been photoshopped in some of the images. And again, it seems like there's more questions than answers, but at this time, I'm kind of leaning towards there being another record out there. Green Day and their label Warner/Reprise Records have been having some tension since the trilogy came out in 2012. Uno, Dos, and Trey didn't fare that well commercially, and I think that they kind of did that because, again, Green Day really didn't care. They just felt like making a lot of songs and they wanted to put out a lot of different albums instead of just putting out one. I do think that it should have been condensed down to one, or at the very least, two. And I can understand that Warner didn't really want to do promo or didn't see how they could realistically or logically promote 3 records, but there's definitely been some tensions in recent years, and it seems like Green Day now want the freedom to release music more frequently. They just want to put out singles, EPs. Billie Joe talked about this in an interview with Zane Lowe and again with Billboard, and it seems like he's kind of giving a confirmation and a wink to the camera like, hey, we want to start doing other stuff and we don't want to keep waiting years in between album cycles. We just want to start dropping more music. And I also don't know how I feel about that. I mean, quality over quantity any day. And I'm not really an EP guy or just a singles guy. I prefer albums from Green Day, but I would love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll just put out another album next year or something like that. We don't know because we are off our contract with Warner.
Oh, that's how it is.
Yeah.
So we're going to do whatever we want.
Okay.
As you can see, they kind of confirmed this in the interview with K-Rock. Once again, they kind of hit it on the nose with how they want to do things. They also talk about the fact that they're fulfilling their contract and also putting out a record that's basically meeting the bare minimum requirements, which again leads me back to maybe they're trolling Warner with this one. Most major label contracts state that a studio album, in order for it to be an album that fulfills part of their contract, however many deals they signed, maybe they signed on for a 10-album deal, a 3-album deal, whatever it is. Most major labels state that the record must be 25 minutes or longer in order to fulfill that. Well, Father of All is sitting at a whopping 26 minutes, 10 songs, fast pace, just flying out of them like it's nothing. So this kind of to me screams, yes, we're just kind of doing this to eat up our contract. We want out. We want to be independent. They've been on Reprise Records since Dookie, so maybe it's time for a shakeup and a change. Billie Joe Armstrong continued to troll in interviews with both Zane Lowe and also Billboard alongside Rivers Cuomo and Pete Wentz. He stated that he now hates long songs. He realized that he hates long songs, he doesn't have the attention span for it, and he wanted to get back to writing shorter songs, which could be genuine, but the more he says it, the less I believe it. I mean, this man has written some fantastic long songs. Homecoming, Jesus of Suburbia, even tracks on 21st Century Breakdown. The title track's a little bit longer, and there's other segmented songs that I thoroughly enjoy, like Dirty Rotten Bastards. I don't think that he actually hates long songs. I think he's just kind of floating it out there as, again, a fuck you, as a red herring, just putting things out there and saying whatever the hell else, which does kind of make me a little bit worried for Billie Joe's own personal sanity. The way that they've described this album, it seems like he might be off the rails again, and dating back to the trilogy, we know that ain't good.
I'm not fucking Justin Bieber, you motherfuckers!
Suffice it to say, there's a lot of fuckery in the air with Green Day. I don't know exactly what's going on, I can't put a finger on the pulse, and that's kind of killing me. As a major Green Day fan, I want to believe that maybe this is a troll because I genuinely don't think the new song is good. I've listened to it even more and I cannot get past the vocal filtering. I know that's something that they really did heavily in a different way on the trilogy, but I like that even more than I like this. So after Revolution Radio, I found this to be very disappointing. They don't really want to write political songs again, it seems, because Billy Joe thinks that would be very cheap. But again, to me, it seems like they never really held back in the past, so why hold back now, especially when we've got the clown in chief out there that maybe deserves a few songs or else a few albums written about him. Anyways, I would love to know what you think about all of these theories. Sound off in the comments section down below. Let me know what you think, fake or true, when it comes to specific things, specific points that I made, or something that you've seen floating around online since the release of Father of All. Has the song grown on you? If you want to see my review, tap here. More Green Day videos in a playlist here. Subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you soon for more on Beyond ARTV.